Welcome to the Corporate and Tax Podcast Series. This podcast will address management contracts and private business use by Timothy Horstmann, attorney at law. Mr. Horstmann practices in the corporate and tax and public finance groups at McNees.
Hi, thanks for joining me today for this podcast. The IRS recently announced a major change in its treatment of management contracts that are entered into by governmental entities and tax-exempt nonprofit associations. Management contracts are commonly used in connection with the management of facilities that were financed by tax-exempt bonds, such as hospitals or water and sewer plants. These contracts grant special privileges to the manager to use the facility. This use is referred to as private business use. Private business use is strongly discouraged by the IRS. With few exceptions, you can't issue tax-exempt bonds to finance a facility that will be used, even in part, for a private purpose. Private business use can result in the facility's outstanding bonds being declared taxable by the IRS. Under prior IRS guidance, a management contract had to fit within one of 5 safe harbors. The problem was that the safe harbors were far too rigid to apply and limited the ability of the parties to negotiate the terms. Contracts could be no longer than 15 years, and depending on the length of the contract, different compensation requirements applied. The ability to offer incentive payments for good performance was very limited, and at no time could you agree to pay your manager based on a share of net profits. The IRS has wisely scrapped these safe harbors, and instead now focuses on the following 4 factors. 1, the issuer must control the facility. 2, the issuer must bear the risk of loss. 3, the contract's term must be tied to the economic life of the facility. And 4, the manager cannot take a tax position that is inconsistent with its role as a service provider. First, the contract must provide that the issuer retain a significant degree of control. This requirement is met if the contract requires that the issuer approve the annual budget, capital expenditures, dispositions of property, rates charged, and the types of services that are provided. Second, the contract must provide that the issuer bear the risk of loss if the facility is damaged or destroyed. The issuer can, however, obtain insurance against such loss and impose penalties on the manager if it failed to meet the standards set forth in the contract. Third, the contract's term must be limited to the lesser of 30 years or 80% of the economic life of the facility. This is a big change for management contracts. Previously, you could only have a contract for up to 15 years. With the IRS now blessing contracts with terms of up to 30 years, we expect to see new opportunities for public-private partnerships in the transportation, energy, and utility sectors that before were unfeasible. And fourth, the contract may not permit the manager to take a tax position that is inconsistent with its role as a service provider. This restriction appears intended to prevent the manager from realizing tax benefits that are generally reserved to the issuer as property owner. It's important to note that some of the requirements seen in the prior guidance continue to apply. For example, while the new rules generally remove the old compensation limits, you still cannot offer a share of net profits as compensation. Issuers should carefully review the new guidance and consult counsel prior to signing a management contract, as a bad contract still can result in your bonds being at risk of losing their tax-exempt status. If you would like more information on this topic, please contact me using the information on the following screen.